let's talk about my faith and chronic illness. It's a weird video, but to be fair, y'all have been asking a little bit about my faith, and weirdly enough, my chronic illness, rheumatoid arthritis, has strengthened and stretched my faith in ways I didn't think was possible. There are a couple videos on this channel where I go into depth about my RA, but I'm gonna summarize the situation in case this is the first video of mine that you have stumbled across. I was diagnosed with RA in 2020, which is an incurable inflammatory condition wherein your immune system mistakenly begins attacking and eating your joints and other things. This is not osteoarthritis, not your grandma's arthritis. It's not arthritis that is caused by repetitive use and wear and tear. In some people, this condition can damage a wide range of body systems. Did I take notes for this video? Why, yes. Yes, I did. And am I reading them on my computer while filming in my office? Why, yes. Yes, I am. It's driving me nuts that I keep staring at them. Please forgive me. Including your skin, your eyes, your lungs, your heart, your blood vessels, just about every other part of your body. It's an autoimmune disorder. It affects the lining of your joints primarily, which causes painful swelling that can eventually lead to bone erosion and joint deformity. Can we see my fingers? They're actually not that bad. I'm pretty grateful. The inflammation associated with rheumatoid arthritis is what can damage other parts of the body as well. And while there are new types of medications that have improved treatment options dramatically, the severity of rheumatoid arthritis can still cause extreme physical disabilities. Needless to say, getting an RA diagnosis is not ideal. Before I was diagnosed, I was convinced that I was either lazy or crazy or a little bit of both. You may not know this, but I was raised on a West Texas horse ranch and I grew up competing in barrel racing. Physical toughness was not only a necessity, but it was also a point of pride. Getting bucked off a horse, hitting the ground, and getting right back on the horse again was something that I got very good at, and I was proud of myself for being able to do those things. Endurance was also highly prized. To be able to say something like, I got up at 5 a.m. and I plowed the back 40, then I trained 10 head of horses and mucked out all the stalls all before 10 a.m. meant that you were worth something. But I hit this massive wall at the end of 2019, and I mean massive wall. I would get extremely tired from the smallest things. I would fold a load of laundry and feel completely depleted. I would wash and style my wavy curly hair and feel like I'd been hit by a Mack truck. One day I'd wake up and my hip would be hurting so badly that I walked hunched over with a limp. And it takes a lot for me to show physical weakness. Like I was limping because I had to. There was no other option. It was either not walk or limp. It would feel like I had sustained some sort of crippling injury, like had a terrible fall or broken my leg in some way. And then the next day I would wake up and I would be fine. It was very weird. Then it would be another joint, a random joint, my shoulder. I wouldn't be able to lift my hand up past 90 degrees without screaming in pain. And then as suddenly as it had started, I'd be fine again. At first, it was easy for me to put off all of these symptoms as years of wear and tear I had put on my body as a horse trainer. Like I said, I was convinced that I was either crazy or lazy or a little bit of both. It didn't make any sense to me that I would be that tired after doing such a small task. It didn't make any sense to me to wake up one day feeling like I had been brutally injured and my joints hurt so bad, and then to wake up the next day and feel no pain. That's not what happens. That's not normal. But it wasn't until I developed a chronic low-grade fever that lasted for weeks that I finally went to the doctor. I have a fever. That means I must have a virus or an infection of some kind. Nope. I was tested for everything. And after being used as a human pincushion and many blood tests later, I came back positive for RF, rheumatoid factor. It's an antibody that's present in about 70 to 80% of people who have RA. It's not a guaranteed diagnosis, but it was enough for my primary care physician to give me a referral to a rheumatologist for official diagnosis. Like a true West Texas cowgirl, I dug my heels in and I refused to go to the rheumatologist. I didn't want to be diagnosed with an incurable autoimmune condition, so I avoided that for months. It wasn't until a dear sweet friend of mine encouraged me to, no, go ahead, go to the doctor, that I finally went and saw the rheumatologist and was officially diagnosed. I started on hydroxychloroquine and immediately began to feel better. The summary of this situation is definitely taking longer than I meant for it to, but I'm trying to paint a picture for you that will hopefully explain my backstory a bit when it comes to the faith aspect of living with a chronic immune condition. I do want to say that I am not a theologian by any means. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm not a religion expert. I'm not here to debate deep matters of faith with you, and I want to tell you that it is totally okay if you vehemently disagree with me. That's okay. I'm just sharing my story in the hope that it will be helpful to you. So if it's not, okay. I have been a Christian since I was 3 years old, and I've been through really hard things, and 100% I have had a crisis of faith. I've shared more about that in my testimony video. It's not a perfect video by any means, but if you want to hear more about that, feel free to check it out. What I do want to highlight is that when I was going through my RA flare and diagnosis, I was on the other side of my crisis of faith, with my faith renewed and stronger. When I was younger, I had this misconceived notion that when things were good, it must mean God is pleased with me, and when things were bad, it must mean I am doing something wrong. If I would just have more faith, then I would be healed. I would not feel pain. I would have no problems whatsoever if I just did everything absolutely perfect. But the older I get, I find my faith actually deepening the most when I go through hard things. This is a fallen world. Bad things happen. That was not God's plan, that bad things would happen. But that doesn't mean He's not sovereign. He uses all things for good. God's goodness is not contingent on my circumstances and how I'm feeling in that moment. He is not absent in my pain. He is right there, present in the middle of it. He knows what pain feels like. He knows what loss feels like. He knows what suffering feels like. He knows exactly what I'm feeling. I'm learning this every day I live with this chronic autoimmune condition. My condition is not the worst one ever documented by any means. There are other people out there suffering more physical pain than I am. And it is so tempting to invalidate my own pain because other people hurt more than I do. Other people have it way worse off than I do. But my pain is my pain, and it's there and it's real. Completely disregarding it isn't helpful. I've gone through periods where I've completely ignored that I have rheumatoid arthritis, and that doesn't work. Pretending it's not there doesn't work. It usually leads to a big flare and a giant crash, which is awesome. Not really. It's also really tempting to feel like if I just tried harder, then I would get better. I would be cured. In my research into this condition and wanting to learn more about it, I have absolutely stumbled across videos and resources with stories from people who have cured their autoimmune conditions through diet, exercise, with this therapy or that therapy. Please trust me when I tell you that if you've heard of it, I have tried it, and it is insanely discouraging to be doing all the right things, to eat perfectly, to not even look at one granule of sugar for months on end, to do all the right exercises, deep breathing techniques, saunas, cold plunges, to spend thousands of dollars on alternative therapies that have worked for other people, all of it. It's so discouraging to do all of those things and still be suffering. to still be hurting so badly. My condition, even with good diet, good exercise, medications, is still progressing. And let me explain what I mean by that. Everyone with RA is a little bit different. Different things work for different people. Just like with your hair, it's the same with rheumatoid arthritis. Things that have consistently helped me manage my RA have been listening to my rheumatologist and taking the medications prescribed, eating a high protein diet. I still eat sugar, gluten, dairy, all the things, because when I have eliminated those things for months on end, I saw absolutely zero improvement. And lastly, weightlifting has been so helpful. I used to be a runner and that brought me a lot of joy. I really loved it, but it was way too much stress on my body, on my joints, on everything. And I found that when I ran, I was more prone to my disease progressing. Weightlifting, on the other hand, is now the form of exercise that brings me so much joy. Guys, I really love lifting heavy things. I used to be terrified of lifting heavy things, thinking that if I did, I would instantly look like Arnold Schwarzenegger and be crazy muscly. Turns out that you can't lift one barbell and get totally ripped. It's actually kind of hard to get totally ripped. Weightlifting feeds my competitive nature, allows me to compete, but instead of competing against someone else, I'm competing against myself, seeing if I can progressively overload the weights that I'm using and slowly use more weight and do more reps safely. It helps me maintain a healthy body weight while also building lots of muscle, which there's lots of research coming out to the benefits of having a higher muscle mass, so I'm all about that. I also find that my joints feel better when they are supported by lots of healthy muscle. The one thing that is consistently tied to my RA progressing is stress. Unfortunately, I live on planet Earth, and planet Earth can be stressful. At this point, right now, today, I am doing okay. But instead of being on just one medication, I'm on two, and I was just recently diagnosed with low thyroid and have been put on a thyroid medication. I suspect that this may be Hashimoto's. Haven't been officially diagnosed with that, but it is not uncommon for people with autoimmune conditions to have more than one. Here's the problem. I'm tough, and I am very, very stubborn. I hate taking medication every day of my life. Hate it. Would really love to not be taking medication every day. I want to cure myself on my own with diet, exercise, and happy thoughts. But that hasn't been my story. I am stable on the medications that I am now taking, and it is very humbling for me to realize that this is my situation. I do have to, in fact, accept help, take medication, and have limitations. I do have to rely on the Lord to be my strength every single day because I don't have any strength on my own right now. I am tired, I hurt, and I'm sad because I'm tired and I hurt all the time. I can't physically do the things that I want to be doing right now. I fully believe that if it was God's perfect will to heal me, I would be healed in an instant. I have seen that miraculously happen with my own eyeballs in my own lifetime. I know that that happens. I know that that's possible. I also fully believe that if I am not healed yet, it's not because a lack of faith. It's not because I'm doing something wrong. If I'm not healed yet, it's because God isn't done yet using this situation for His glory. God wants what is best for all of us. And sometimes what is best for us is not what is easy, what is comfortable, what is safe, what is fluffy, what feels good or makes you happy. That has been so hard for me to accept. And I definitely don't do it perfectly every day. But the days when I do accept that God can and does bring good out of suffering and uses it for His purposes, that is when I feel peace. instead of emotional turmoil. If you're looking for a resource, I personally found American Gospel to be balm to my soul when my heart was breaking because of my condition. I want to encourage you to remember that faith and chronic illness are not mutually exclusive. Living with RA has taught me that God's goodness is not defined by my circumstances. Even through all of my rage, frustration, and pain, He has been right there with me. If you're dealing with a chronic illness or facing other challenges, know that it's okay to feel tired, to feel hurt, and even frustrated. In these moments, lean on your Heavenly Father. He's got broad shoulders. He can take it. Remember, pain and suffering do not diminish faith. Instead, they deepen your reliance on His grace and His purpose. Thank you for taking time to listen to my story. I know that was a little bit heavy. I hope it brings you some comfort. Stay strong, stay faithful, and trust God is with you every step of the way. I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!